Welcome everybody to our session EU funding for microfinance and the social economy. First, let me say that our event and this session is supported by SIFTA, Social Inclusive Finance Technical Assistance Program. And in Expo area of Hopin event platform, you can visit the booth and get all the details about the program. In addition, we are going to have an opportunity to receive the overview and the latest updates on SIFTA from one of our speakers. My name is Pavel Kapsdorfer, and I'm the Network and Partnership Manager of Microfinance Centre, and I will moderate this session with our distinguished speakers. Our experts will bring you an overview of current opportunities for microfinance institutions and social enterprise finance providers in terms of EU programs and initiatives such as InvestEU, SIFTA, and Financial Compass, AMIF. And now let me welcome our distinguished speakers. Samuel Klaus, Senior Investment Officer from European Investment Fund. Bruno Robino, Deputy Head of Climate and Social Finance Advisory Division in European Investment Bank. And Anna Zurek, Financial Instruments Advisor from European Investment Bank. Samuel, how InvestEU can support microfinance providers and social economy players? The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Pavel. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would want to check that my presentation is visible to the audience.
Yes.
Excellent. So it's a pleasure to be with you today and this afternoon in the middle of the very interesting year-end period where we are obviously extremely busy. So that's very interesting to take this time off to step back a bit and go back to the networks and talk to the sector, because that's obviously extremely important to us. So I've got 10 minutes or so, thanks to you, Pavel. Thanks a lot. And I would want to share with you a couple of slides. So the first one that I want to share. Yes. So that's what I called EIF Inclusive Finance Toolbox. So it's meant to summarize in a nutshell, in one page, the various mandates that we have been or are still working on over the past programming period and the new one. And also I put this as just so that you can see if you have worked with us already on one of these windows, to recognize if you have worked with us, and also to foresee any potential cooperation. So as you can imagine, I cannot go into details given the time, but on the EIF website, you will have everything in extenso. So when it comes to EASY, you know that it has been deployed during the last programming period. The bulk of our work was to deploy the guarantee, so what is here referred to as the GFI, and which is now fully allocated. That means that we cannot do any more transactions under EASY GFI. It has been very successful. We still have a pocket of what we call EASY Funded, which is meant to finance, so it's a liquidity line, mainly in the form of senior or subordinated loans, that is meant to finance a portfolio of microloans or loans to social enterprises. And then there is the capacity building instrument that was meant as a loan, as a financing line to finance either, to finance CapEx and OpExes, so the non-portfolio part. And it has been fully allocated, as you can read. Then last year was mainly the year of EGF, what we also call the Pan-European Guarantee Facility. That was a really large mandate meant to be a COVID response. And all the transactions that were signed Now the signing period is over. Just to give you an idea, we finished in December last year by signing 110 transactions in the sole months of December. And now, obviously, is opening a new window of time, which is for us the InvestEU mandate, which is a very large mandate that has a micro and social window. That is the continuation of EASY, so it's very similar, and that has also a capacity building instrument part. Sorry for that. When it comes to the InvestEU, so it's the guarantee agreement has been signed between the European Union, EIB, and EIF on the 7th of March. The call for expression of interest was published in April with an extensive information package available on EIF website, as I mentioned. And as we speak, it's a very interesting time because the bulk of the activity starting during summertime, let's say June, summer. And now we have received very many applications and a handful of signatures have already been done. So we have a very strong pipeline, which is currently under processing towards signatures of guarantee agreements till the end of this year to start with. Sorry for that. In InvestEU funds, so here you have, you can see that there are several windows, and these windows are meant to deploy 372 billion of funds. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Of funds in 4 sub windows. Here you can see that there are 6 sub windows that are, let's say, the components of the InvestEU, and you will recognize the social impact and inclusion one, which is the continuation of EASY. There is a guarantee part, which is the one I'm working with, and an equity part. And maybe after Bruno, I don't know if you will want to say something, but there is an advisory support, which is very important as part of the InvestEU. Here you can read the main differences between EASY and InvestEU social window, and you would see that mainly the different parameters are the same. You have the guarantee rate, which is still up to 80%, the cap rate that goes up to 30%, still free of charge, which is a very interesting component. And the maximum loan amount for macro is going up now to 50,000 euros, which is an improvement compared to the EASY. I don't know if you can hear me well, Pavel. Is it fine? Like, sorry for that. In terms of the scope, it's quite unchanged compared to the EASY one, where we are targeting micro and social enterprises, still within the social business declaration framework. So basically, we need to qualify as a social enterprise to sign the social business declaration to be eligible. In terms of also of products, there is this so-called capacity building investment product, which is a loan that we can provide to finance the development of the intermediary, and it's meant to finance, as it is written here, the growth in terms of capex and opex mainly. And here you can see that this is meant to take the form of a subordinated loan, which is Tier 2 compliant. That means that for an intermediary with whom we would contract, there is a capacity to use it for increasing the solvency ratio. And the underlying project are capacity buildings. That means that it can be typically the expansion of branches, the opening of branches, expansion of a new network, or a new MIS. So basically, that's projects that are to be reported afterwards. So I think that's a very first overview I wanted to show. And obviously, it could be time for a question afterwards, but what you need to maybe to remember is that now we are mainly occupied by InvestEU, microfinance and social window, and that the application time is already on, so you can already apply on the EIF website. So thanks a lot, Pavel, and I think I give you the floor back then.
Thank you, Samuel. Maybe just to emphasize to our participants about the eligibility. Yeah, I mean, who can apply to these instruments? Could you please just repeat or emphasize on that as well?
Yes. So basically, this instrument is targeting all intermediaries based in EU 27. That whatever the legal form provide the loans to macro enterprises or social enterprises.
All right.
So these are the eligibility.
Are there any chances for the future, to other countries to join this program?
So I think that's maybe also a question for my colleagues. Maybe Bruno. I think that would be one for you later.
Okay. Yeah. I can already answer. So if it's under InvestEU, it's clearly for the member states of the European Union. Then we are working together with the IF for extending the services outside the European Union, but it will not be under InvestEU. It will be under other mandates. So we are working with other Directorate General of the European Commission, which are covering, for example, the neighboring countries. And maybe it's a bit premature now, but we really hope to have or to give in future events, NFC events, good news. But I can confirm that together with the IF, we are working to extend the services, let's say, outside the European Union and at least to the Balkan countries. I replied, Samuel, while you were drinking.
All right.
Exactly.
Thank you for
for
helping each other. Thank you, Samuel, for your heads up. On these instruments tools which are available to social economy players, including microfinance providers. And yeah, I mean, I also I'm glad that you were able to extract from the very complex program, InvestEU, the items which are really relevant to microfinance social economy players providers.
Exactly. Maybe if I can just say as a conclusion on my little presentation was that basically everything is on the IF website. It's quite well done. And then obviously you need to contact anyone from the inclusive finance team for more details. But it's quite similar to easy for the ones that know the preceding product. So it's not many surprises.
Okay. Thanks a lot again. And now I would like to invite Bruno, who is already in position, speaking already prior. He's taking the floor for his presentation. So thank you for answering the previous question. And you are going to tell us about SIFTA programs and what SIFTA program offers to its beneficiaries, microfinance providers, and also social enterprise finance providers. So Bruno, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pavel, and good afternoon, everybody. Let's do it formally now. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the Social Inclusive Finance Technical Assistance, or SIFTA, that everybody is using this acronym. We love acronyms. Which so allow me a little step back. So SIFTA is part of InvestEU. This was mentioned, is part of InvestEU Advisory Hub, which is divided in several policy windows. I will not get into the details of the policy window, but I would ask your help to have my slides, otherwise I cannot continue. I'll, yeah, you're on mute at this moment, so it's called technical panic.
No, it's not.
Okay.
We are getting on. So here you are.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so I was saying that SIFTA is part, so that InvestEU Advisory Hub, and let's go to the next slide. InvestEU Advisory Hub is divided in several policy windows. I will not go into the details of all policy window. What is important for today is the social and investment skills window, which, as you can see, is divided in turn into 4 sub-windows. What is important for us, of course, is the microfinance and social enterprise finance window. Next slide, please. So now, under this sub-window, the objective is to implement a technical assistance. Samuel has spoke a lot about easy and continuation of easy, and we can speak about easy TA and actually continuation of the ideal continuation of easy TA. So in this respect, EIB and the advisory part of EIB is acting as implementing partner, and actually will be in charge of delivering SIFTA, with the objective to provide a capacity building, market development support, rating assessment and evaluation to financial intermediaries active in the microfinance and social enterprise space. So the initiative is open, and even here we're talking about the members, the entities located and active in the member states. So we are talking about the EU 27, and for the moment, the budget that was given to us through the European Commission, it goes or runs until 2024. We mentioned that the beneficiaries are microfinance provider, for example, such as banks and non-banks microfinance organizations, but also social enterprise finance provider. I'm referring, and again, the list is not exhaustive, investment funds, impact investor, incubator, accelerator. And the idea is to really open up the market and really target as much as social enterprise finance provider as possible. This is actually something where the European Commission has put the accent. We have divided, and I'll come to that, or let's move into the next slide. So there are quite a number of services which can be offered under SIFTA, and we have regrouped them in 2 groups. And we call them, let's say, horizontal services, and it's the right-hand side, where participants or beneficiary can access to these services actually without submitting any formal request. The idea is to participate into events, conferences, networking activities, not only about SIFTA like today, but also when there are very specific capacity building workshop on specific topics related to either microfinance or social finance provision, like risk management, improving of IT system, human resources management. There is also the possibility to have analytical support in various teams, including how to help entities that face difficulties in obtaining finance. Um, these horizontal activities is also meant to develop guidance material. Anyway, whatever is considered generic information, then generic capacity building for the beneficiary. But on the other hand, on the left hand side, we have specific or tailor-made activity. And in order to access this one, you need to submit a request to the EIB. Here we are talking about tailored training and coaching to the beneficiaries or potential beneficiaries for the provision of an institutional assessment, rating, falls into that category, the peer-to-peer training, study visits, and all the services related to the European, to the adoption of the European Code of Good Conduct for Microfinance. And of course also, and this is a novelty, portfolio analysis and pipeline building. I will not get into the details of all the services, but this is, I would say, with SIFTA, we enlarged the range of services. So it would be rather interesting for the potential beneficiaries to see which services are offered and what could be of interest for them. Let's move to the next slide. So, where do we stand in the process of launching SIFTA, which is, I would say, a newborn baby under InvestEU? Well, last July at the annual conference at the MFC, I announced that we were in the process of starting and selecting and actually came to an agreement with service provider. Now I can confirm that we are, let's say, in business, or we have retained the services of a consortium composed by Frankfurt School of Finance together with Yemen and MFC. So thank you very much, MFC. And also another service, specialized service provider, which is Microfinance Centre, which is for the ratings, which is specialized in the rating and evaluations, and a number of other activities. The contracts with these two entities, so between the EIB and these two entities, are in place, and I can confirm that the service provider have already started to deliver on their SIFTA. Next slide, please. I'm also happy to announce that there is a dedicated web page in the environment of EIB where all SIFTA activities are explained, and this is the QR code to access the web page. And there is also we put in place a functional mailbox. So if you are a potential target beneficiary, please send your request using the functional mailbox. So far, let's say that summer was very good to warm the engines, and we started in September. We received so far more than 30 requests for specific services. I would say not all of them are eligible, but a good portion of them, yes. And we're already starting and progressing and starting the beginning of the deliverable of the services with quite a number of them, a large number of them. So from my side, also in the interest of time, I'll stop here and happy to take questions either now or after.
Thank you, Bruno, for sharing this practical information and updates about the situation with SIFTA program. And we as a MFC, we are member of this implementing consortium, so we will be able to deliver the services to beneficiaries, and we obviously look forward to our future cooperation.
Very good, very good. I'm looking forward as well.
I suggest we leave the questions for the end of our session. After we have also, now I would like to invite Anna Zurek, who is going to explain us FICOMPAS advisory support on financial instruments under EU share management funds, and focus specifically on social enterprises and migrants. Many microfinance providers and social enterprises are already supporting migrants, among other vulnerable groups. But this happens rather organically, rather than in a targeted way, and it's perhaps not perfectly documented. And they are not receiving any EU funds for this particular purpose. So, what additional benefits can obtaining resources from EU shared management funds such as AMIF or ESF Plus in form of financial instruments provide to these actors? Anna, please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Pavel, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anna Zurek. I'm a financial instruments advisor at the European Investment Bank, and I work together with colleagues on the ERDF and the AMIF work streams of FICOMPAS. And Bruno, who just spoke before on SIFTA, is also the head of FICOMPAS. But I have the pleasure to present to you our new activities in the AMIF work stream. As many of you hopefully know, FICOMPAS is an advisory platform on financial instruments co-financed by EU shared management funds, and FICOMPAS is provided by the European Commission in partnership with the EIB. And the platform was created already in 2014-2015, and it provides awareness raising and capacity building support on financial instruments, supporting different EU policies. It was before for the 2014-2020 programming period. And our program has been formally extended by the Commission and the EIB also for the 2021-27 period. So now, besides actually the support on financial instruments under ERDF, under ESF Plus, under EAFRD, so the Agricultural Fund and the Fisheries Fund, we now also look into the potential of using financial instruments, for instance, microfinance, in the area of integration of migrants. And this we do within this new work stream, which we have launched in the beginning of this year together with the DG Home, so the Directorate General for Migration and Home Affairs. My presentation today will focus mainly on this aspect. So here, this slide illustrates the policy context of financial instruments in this area of integration of so-called third country nationals, the TCNs, as the official abbreviation is. We, for the purpose of our work stream, very often refer to them just as migrants recently arrived to the EU and in need to be integrated. And microfinance will be here a substantial area to focus for us. Why we are looking at this area at all? Well, AMIF and the other home funds are in the 2021-27 programming period governed under the EU Common Provisions Regulation, the CPR. This is new. Before, it was not the case. So this means that it is possible with the resources of 2021-27 to use those resources for the support through the support form of financial instruments or a combination of financial instruments and grants, and not as it was before done only through grants. So this is a big novelty for 2021-27, and it provides a big potential to use these resources as well, for instance, in the area of microfinance for migrants. It is important to mention here about the areas that you see on the slide of support for migrants that actually AMIF can cover, because AMIF is limited to cover the reception and the early integration of migrants.
Anna, sorry to interrupt you, but we have some feedback from the participants that it's not fully visible because it's not really full size.
It's small
on your screen. So,
and what about now?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I'm sharing the screen with actually the desktop of this Hopin platform. So, but I hope that now you can see much better. Okay.
Yes, thank
you very much for this feedback. So for the medium and the long-term integration, other funds like ERDF or ESF might play a role as well. But for AMIF, those we are here. We look at the reception and the early integration. integration, and especially at 4 sectoral areas: housing, jobs, health, and education. The Commission provides funding for these actions through AMIF. And to support the informed decision of managing authorities and the other stakeholders if and how to use financial instruments to support integration of migrants through measures in the sectoral areas mentioned in the action plan, DG Home has introduced with AMIF resources as well the so-called Union Action 2020. Which is available for the period of 3 years, so 2022 to 24. And this Union Action is experimental in its nature, and it combines capacity building and testing through pilot projects and aims for decisions in the next years, so 2024-25 probably, on the future of the use of financial instruments under AMIF. And the first component of this Union Action is the awareness raising and the capacity building, and this is delivered by FICOMPAS. And the second component are the pilot projects, and this is delivered actually not by the EIB, but by the Council of Europe Development Bank. There was a call. It's called PAFMI, Partnerships and Financing for Migrant Inclusion. There was a grant available, and results of the call will be, if I remember correctly, published soon. But we focus, of course, here on the part of the Union Action of FICOMPAS. So here we have the slide. So you can here directly go to our website actually by either scanning the QR code or just typing the name. And we, in case you are not yet an active member of our community of practice, please go to our website and create a profile and opt into the newsletters, because it's worthwhile to stay up in touch with us. We have a broad advisory offer addressed primarily to managing authorities, but also to microfinance providers and social economy enterprise providers. Our website is a one-stop shop for all relevant resources on financial instruments, presented in a user-friendly way. We have plenty of practical documents to help to understand the practicalities related to financial instruments under the EU shared management funds. We publish case studies. We organize events about this topic, and we publish as well the event slides and the recordings on our website. So it's really worth to stay in touch with us through our website. And also, what I wanted to mention is that this new work stream that we launched now can benefit of this broad library of already existing resources, which have been prepared by FICOMPAS in the past years as well. So people or stakeholders who start to get involved in those topics can also benefit from a much broader spectrum of already available information compared to what has been the case when the previous programming period has started. And here, this is just a small visualization of. Directly after the launch of this AMIF workstream, we screened our existing FICOMPAS resources for relevance for this migration area, and it turned out that actually several financial instruments delivered in the 2014-20 period have, in one way or the other, tackled, among other vulnerable groups as well, migrants, and we even featured some of them. So this is just here an example of a video case study that have on an ESF financial instrument in Poland, where we featured actually a vegan bistro in Warsaw that's set up thanks to this microloan, was able to finance some kitchen equipment and to employ vulnerable groups, including migrants, in their bistro. So here it's another example that we wanted to just mentioned of how previously EU resources were used to support migrants. This is the EASY Business Development Services pilot. It's actually an EIF, has been implemented by the EIF, but we are very happy to feature that as well through our capacity building and awareness raising activities. So this example, although it was financed not via shared management funds, but it's still very relevant because it is an example of how a combination of a financial financial instrument, and a grant can be implemented also to support migrants, and this could be very well in the next programming period replicated by using EU shared management funds. And we have described this pilot in our first publication, the so-called AMIF fact sheet. And this is here I wanted to mention our current fee compass activities, and maybe that are the most relevant for our audience. So first, this AMIF fact sheet. This is really a good starting document to read about financial instruments supporting this area of migrants. We identified 3 key areas where financial instruments could potentially make sense, because financial instruments obviously cannot finance all types of projects, especially the revenue generating and cost saving projects have here the biggest potential. And microfinance, this is an area where we see really the big potential. We offer also direct advisory assistance through a format that is called AMIF targeted coaching. So in case stakeholders really start considering becoming involved in such financial instruments in the area of migrants by using EU funds, please feel free to approach us because we have this option to organize some more targeted assistance. And then the core activity currently is, which we have launched a few weeks ago, is a bigger study on the potential of financial instruments under AMIF and other resources to support this area of integration of migrants in the EU. The study has 2 parts. It has a market assessment part where we analyze the financing needs and assess the market failure, the barriers affecting the demand of support. We assess the public and private support available, and also the capacity and the readiness of the stakeholders for this type of financial instruments. And then on the other side, we will also already describe some potential design options for such financial instruments. And the study is being undertaken via desk research and focus groups, interviews and workshops, and the results should be available in the end of or in the second half of 2023. And we hope that managing authorities and other relevant stakeholders will also be using the results of the study proactively, let's say, in their next steps in advancing with their financial instruments. So here, how to become involved in case you are really, you would like to you already have, maybe you are already supporting migrants, you would like to extend this offer through the use of AMIF or ESF plus resources, or you have not done it yet, but you would like to start considering this. First of all, it might be good to speak to your managing authorities, because they have just launched or will soon launch their support via the 2021-2027 shared management funds pots. So you can get in touch with them directly, and for instance the ESF Plus or AMIF managing authorities, and check what they are planning in terms of the use of available resources to support microfinance and migrants, for instance. Are there financial instruments under these funds in this regard planned? How can you benefit from this as a microfinance institution? So those authorities are for sure a good contact point. Regarding our current activities, in case you are a microfinance institution in the EU area and you are involved, or you would like to become involved in support, especially for migrants, we would be very pleased to include your voice in the market assessment part of our AMIF study. You can just make a screenshot of this current slide, for instance, and just contact us by email. We would be really happy to talk to you, or maybe you have some tips in terms of other stakeholders in your country or region that would be beneficial for us to talk to during the market assessment part of our study. So this is me, and my colleague Desmond, who is visible here on the slide, will be very pleased to hear from you soon. This is all from me. Thank you very much for this opportunity to present this AMIF workstream in very brief to you, and I appreciate any questions you might have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much. Yeah, there is a lot of discussion these days about supporting and financing migrants and also refugees, and obviously the risk of financing these groups is perceived by financial intermediaries as very high, and they always expect some contribution, some matching of support from authorities. So hopefully we open up also the topic for the managing authorities and even for the sector itself. And I'm happy that you show that EU is offering already certain directions, certain paths how these groups could be supported. So thank you very much once again. Now I would like to ask you also to follow up on our poll. We would be very happy if you can answer, our poll, which is already published, and I would like now to give opportunity to people ask the questions. I see we have actually question from Ilva Lundqvist Fried. Two questions. So let me read it out. The social business declaration, where I can read more about it.
So, well, I think that's one I can take.
Okay, thank you.
Is it okay? That's a really good question because it's mainly something that we have in our systems at EIF. So it was designed with the Commission time ago in the course of the setup of Easy Social Strand, and it's still valid. So if you want to know more about it, it's the easiest is to contact anyone from the inclusive finance team at EIF. And it's good to know that you have the main version in English. That was the one initially negotiated with the Commission, but we also have like a series of declaration in all of the languages, if not all, of the EU.
Okay, thank you. And the second question Ilva has is, what is the minimum investment per intermediary, not per social enterprise?
So I guess it's still on my side.
I think so.
I guess for the guarantees now, what is a bit new is that, in fact, I didn't say it, but I belong to a department which is the portfolio guarantees at EIF. So basically, we see all of the applications under InvestEU for all of the windows. That I can speak better, I can explain again. So it means that the tickets, the amounts we see they range from a couple of millions, I would say, per guarantee of volume till a couple of 100 millions. So it's a very big difference. But I would say minimum ticket, I would talk about a couple of millions to be deployed over 3 years, usually. That's what we have.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully, we answered your question. Ilva, if anybody would like to have a last question or even speak up, please let me know. So, all right, we have now a question from Silke Müffelmann, and this is a question to Robino. I want to ask why InvestEU should not extend to all candidates as member of EU and not only to Balkans.
No. First of all, InvestEU is. Let me clarify. InvestEU is only an initiative for the European Union. What we are working with the European Commission is when it comes to microfinance and social finance, we are working with the European Commission to extend the services or similar initiative to the Balkan region. So not only from EIF point of view operation, but also in terms of the technical assistance or a similar technical assistance which is delivered under InvestEU. This is what we are working with the European Commission. There are, of course, other technical assistance and other operation for microfinance for, let's say, the rest of the world, but is not carried out by the IF when it comes to outside the European Union and outside the Balkans. Is carried out by the IB in terms of operation, and the IB has a specific and another type of technical assistance which is really adapted to the operation. So first, the operation of the IB to a microfinance provider in, let's call them developing countries outside the Balkans, for example, and associated to that operation, there is a specific technical assistance, but it's not the SIFTA technical assistance. It's a very tailored technical assistance in order to develop the pipeline of the portfolio of microloans of that operation. So it's a completely different approach. The approach of SIFTA is to increase the capacity with a view to enter on the radar of EIF and other potential investors. The technical assistance of the EIB for developing countries is, once there is an operation, a technical assistance which allow a better and a more fluid, let's say, development of the operation. So it's a different game.
Mhm.
Hopefully, I have an answer your
Right.
question.
Okay. Thank you. I just add that Silke transferred this question from somebody from Moldova from the event chat. So they posted this question to the event chat. So I could not check on that or couldn't see it. So thank you, Silke, for taking and passing on this question. Yeah, I think the time is up. You know, I don't see any other questions. So I would like to conclude this session, this panel. Thank you very much to our speakers, who I think presented very interesting information in a really concise way. You know, from a big and complex chunk of information which are available throughout the EU. I think we managed really well, and appreciation to all of you, and wish you rest of the a good day, and see you sometimes in the next events. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody.